what's really cool about the AP 3D program at Singapore American School is that they all come from a very strong two-dimensional background. And therefore, students in AP 3D need to think three-dimensionally, which is very challenging. But having a really strong two-dimensional background has actually made them that much stronger, and they're very well-rounded.
Well, I like how we're free to do whatever we want. So if we're given a project, we don't have much parameters, which is different from 2D, and it allows us to be more creative.
Their paper form, they were only allowed to use paper, white glue, and water to create a form, and it had to be at least 24 inches high to basically stretch the form, to stretch their ideas of form. It didn't have to be representational, or it could be. And so many of them were figuring out what defined paper and what the properties of paper were.
So my 3D piece that I made was all out of paper, and it's a representational form of obviously a skeleton holding roses. When I was creating the piece, I wanted the main focal point to be on the roses, so that I made them the only color.
For my paper project, I created 3 spheres using paper mache and rice paper, and I put them together in a way that is inspired by a bird's nest, but abstracted in a form.
20 pieces of sculpture in what's under 9 months is miraculous. And so that's pretty challenging. I think the pace is the biggest challenge for AP 3D. But once they get into the groove of it, it's been pretty. They're starting to really hit their stride. It's pretty gorgeous to watch.
So I came up with this idea of creating a lantern out of not the paper sculpture. We're only allowed to use glue and paper. So I thought of just braid the paper to create a lamper. So my entire sculpture is just braid up. There's no glue.
There's a very strong bond, a very strong community. They're working side by side. They're wrestling individually, but they're working collaboratively, critiquing, etc., etc.
You can really build anything and demonstrate what your interests are in a 3D way. You don't have as many limitations when it comes to designing what you want. Instead, you can use your imagination and create really anything.
They have already conquered 2 dimensions. They're working into something that is scary for them, and it is hard. It is really hard to do. And yet, I'm watching many of them show a fight that I've never seen before.